Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to this Masterclass Explainer. Today, we are taking on the role of executive consultants, and we're going to decode exactly what it takes to completely dominate Cambridge AS and A-level accounting paper 2. Now, specifically, we're zeroing in on one of the most critical, high-tariff topics in the entire syllabus: users of accounting information and stakeholder requirements. We aren't just looking at textbook definitions today, no way. We are literally tearing down the examiner's blueprint to see exactly how top-tier students structure their responses with the absolute clarity and authority of an executive consultant. To help us out, I want you to imagine two junior consultants pitching to a client. We've got consultant Alex, who has fantastic data points but absolutely terrible executive summary delivery, and we've got consultant Sam, who is an incredibly persuasive speaker but completely lacks any physical asset or case study backing. We're going to use their successes and failures today to audit your own exam strategy.
So you might be wondering, why are we focusing so heavily on this single topic? Well, it's because of this number right here, 15%. Think about that for a second. That is approximately how much of the total marks in Paper 2 are commanded by stakeholder requirements alone. It's a massive chunk of your final equity sitting in one conceptual basket. It makes this an absolute high-stakes, must-master area. You simply cannot afford to have gaps in your understanding here if you want to secure those top marks and close the deal on exam day.
All right, here is our meeting itinerary for today's pitch. First, we'll hit core principles and objectives. Second, technical methodology. Third, mastering critical analysis. And finally, crucial examiner warnings.
Let's move right into Section 1, Core Principles and Objectives.
Now, Cambridge is looking for significantly more than just your ability to memorize basic accounting rules. They genuinely want to see you think and communicate like a seasoned professional. Let's look at the structural strategy debate between our two junior consultants, Alex and Sam. When planning their proposal framework, they realized the syllabus is explicitly designed to target 3 distinct compliance standards, or cognitive domains. You have your assessment objective 1, knowledge and understanding. This is the absolute baseline. Alex is great at this, dumping raw facts. But then you must demonstrate AO2 analysis, which is the ability to break down complex financial data. And finally, AO3 evaluation. This is the executive-level skill of judging the quality of evidence and making informed recommendations. Sam loves to jump straight to evaluation, making sweeping statements. But without the knowledge and analysis to back it up, the pitch completely falls flat. Successful candidates don't just excel at one, they demonstrate a balanced, high-level competence across all 3 of these domains.
And this brilliantly illustrates our ultimate goal: transferable understanding. You see, top-performing students don't just learn a formula, memorize a specific company's profile, and parrot it back. They secure those premium marks by taking fundamental principles like systematic analysis and evidence-based reasoning and exhibiting a connected, conceptual mastery. Why does this matter? Because the examiner is absolutely going to test you using completely unfamiliar, complex, curveball contexts. One day it's a manufacturing plant, the next it's a boutique retail startup. If your knowledge isn't transferable to a brand new scenario, well, it just isn't true understanding.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, technical methodology.
In the corporate consulting world, we rely heavily on standard operating procedures. In this exam, you need to master what we call the method mark strategy, where strictly following the correct systematic process literally earns you points on the board. But actually, before we dive into these steps, let's pause the slide deck for a quick mid-explainer check-in. To ensure your academic portfolio remains highly competitive, you need to subscribe to our channel Ace the Exams at the handle @AceTheExams and enable those notifications for our weekly consulting insights. Okay, let's get back to it. So Alex and Sam are working on their mock proposal, and they hit a critical flaw in their essay paragraph. They aren't structuring their thoughts. Here is the first half of the procedural framework to fix that pitch. Step 1, deconstruct the question. Before you even pick up a pen, you must pull apart the prompt to know exactly which of those 3 cognitive domains you are being tested on. Step 2, extract relevant data from your stimulus materials. You've got texts, tables, charts. Extracting the right data points is absolutely critical. And step 3, select your analytical framework. You have to choose the exact right financial lens before you begin any calculations.
Now we enter the execution phase. To fix Alex and Sam's pitch, we need to align their syntax with standard formatting matrices like the PEAL method: point, evidence, evaluation, link. Step 4, execute the analysis with clear notation and working. I can't stress this enough. Step 5, verify your results. Do a quick reasonableness check. Does this number actually make sense in the real world? And Step 6, present with correct terminology and appropriate formats. The crucial takeaway here is this: practical application develops professional skills. If you execute with crystal clear working and correct formats, you secure those vital process marks, even if, Heaven forbid, a final calculated number goes slightly awry at the end. The methodology is your safety net.
Let's transition into Section 3, Mastering Critical Analysis.
Welcome to the live audit workshop portion of this explainer. Real problem solving and stakeholder requirements requires a continuous evaluation loop. You deconstruct the information, you solve systematically, and then you evaluate to make justified recommendations. Let's do a live diagnostic. Imagine an analytical data chart is put in front of you, and you have a 60-second visual timer to extract the highest value insights. Go. When you are assessing the quality of this evidence, you cannot just say, yeah, the numbers look good. You must formally categorize your evaluation using this specific checklist. First, what are the limitations of the data provided? Is it outdated? Second, what assumptions were made by the stakeholders or the accountants? Third, are there alternative interpretations of these figures? And most importantly, what is the effect of all these factors on the final conclusions? This table right here is the exact matrix you use to structure an authoritative executive-level response that examiners simply cannot ignore.
And finally, Section 4, Crucial Examiner Warnings.
Let's continue our live audience diagnostics with Case 2, Risk Assessment. We went directly to the Cambridge Principal Examiner reports to identify the exact sentences where students lose their structural credibility. Here they are, the top 3 pitfalls that utterly destroy otherwise brilliant answers. Number 1, answers are just too vague. This is Consultant Sam's classic mistake. Examiners do not want fluff. They want specific, data-driven details. Number 2, forgetting to check format and presentation. This is where Consultant Alex usually drops the ball. Remember that method mark strategy? If you have the right numbers but present them in a completely unrecognizable format, you bleed marks. And number 3, perhaps the most fatal error of them all. Answers are not specific to the context given.
Let's close the deal and look at the final polished draft. The Principal Examiner reports specifically call out generic answers as the classic mistake, providing responses that are completely disconnected from the actual question context. You could literally write a textbook-perfect, beautifully articulate paragraph on stakeholder theory, but if it doesn't apply to the specific business in the stimulus material, you scored next to nothing. The top performer, however, operates like an elite consultant. They ground every single point, every piece of terminology directly within the unique context of the question. They blend Alex's data with Sam's persuasiveness to create a bulletproof, contextualized pitch.
So here is your executive framework summary checklist. If you take away only one thing from this entire masterclass, let it be this golden rule straight from the examiner's mouth. Always link every point to the given scenario. This is absolutely non-negotiable, folks. Whether you are extracting data, evaluating those limitations we talked about, or making a final recommendation for a specific stakeholder, this scenario is your anchor. Do not, under any circumstances, draft generic answers.
All right, we've successfully deconstructed the blueprint. We know they are rigorously testing your knowledge, analysis, and evaluation. We know the procedural framework demands a clear methodology, and we know that generic answers are the absolute enemy of a top grade. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought to audit your own study habits. If a Cambridge examiner walked into the boardroom right now and looked at your very last practice paper, would they see a generic, copy-pasted formula, or would they see a custom, context-driven, executive-level solution? Really think about that before your next past paper practice session. Keep mastering those frameworks. Oh, and before we adjourn this meeting, here is your final call to action. Make sure to subscribe to Ace the Exams at the handle @AceTheExams. Enable that notification bell so you never miss a briefing. And drop a comment down below with your current level and your target subject. I'll see you in the next explainer.